So we got this metaphor going on, which is an actual story. It's like a parable, but it's not a parable
Because it's real.
because it's real. But yet it's doing a parable's job.
Welcome to Carting Truth Podcast, a father-daughter duo focusing on sharing revelations through conversations with the Lord. Let's get started with today's episode.
Welcome to Carting Truth Podcast. I'm Lindsay here with my dad Shane, and today we're going to talk about some hidden revelations in Zechariah. It's pretty interesting. We can't wait to share those.
Now, Lindsay, in Zechariah chapter 3, there's a lot of hidden revelations about Jesus. And so we're going to go over and read that passage and just see how many times it's basically showing us who the Son of God is. And even telling us his name and telling us his place and how it's going to work. So let's go over to Zechariah chapter 3 and look at the old prophet's passage there and just be amazed at how many things about Jesus is in that passage, even his name.
Really?
Yeah. So it's in Zechariah chapter 3, and it gives this big story about Joshua, and it starts telling all these things about him. And there was a real Joshua back there that it's talking about.
Right.
But God put it in there to give a heads up about Jesus so that you could, when Jesus comes, you could really see him.
Because we talked about last episode, Joshua, when translated, how does that work again when translated to?
You take Joshua into Greek first and then translate that into English, it's translated Jesus.
Okay, so there's mirrors there.
And if you translate it straight from Hebrew into English, it's Joshua. It's actually Yeshua because they don't have J's. They
Right.
go with Y.
Right.
So it's Yeshua. But this Old Testament story tells us about Yeshua. It's basically telling us about the Son of God, about his office and how he functions. It's big foreshadowing of our Jesus. So let's go over and read that passage and look at all the things that God's given us a heads up on. And it's hard to understand how the Jews miss him as the Son of God, as the King, as the High Priest, when this passage is basically telling them he's coming and what his name is and everything.
Well, I obviously missed this too when I read it because I didn't know that mirrored anything about Jesus. So I'm kind of excited to reread that and kind of see, where that's coming from.
There's a lot of parts to it. Let's go over there and read it. All right, so we're in Zechariah chapter 3, and it says, "And he showed me Yeshua, Jesus, Joshua, the high priest, standing before the angel of the Lord, and Satan standing at his right hand to resist him." Now, this Joshua, the high priest, is actually a real high priest back in Zechariah's day.
Okay.
But he is a metaphor for Jesus. See, Jesus is our high priest. And
Right.
his name is Joshua, Yeshua, right?
Yes.
And he's standing before the angel of the Lord, which the angel of the Lord is Jesus. He's the messenger of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And Satan is resisting him, which is the whole thing of the gospel. When Jesus came, Satan tried to destroy him through Herod, and there's this fight, right?
Right.
So this whole story is telling the gospel story, and it's giving us a heads up that the Son of God's coming, and his name is Yeshua. So when you look at it in that light, as we go down through here and see all these points, it starts making more sense. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it also is to your point that you've said many times that metaphors in the Bible are literal.
Yes. This is a metaphor that's becoming literal.
Right, and I feel like that happens throughout the whole Bible.
Right.
You just don't know that.
When you read it on the surface, you think, oh, it's talking about Joshua the high priest back in Zechariah's day.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. It's giving you another story of telling you that the Son of God's come and his name is coming and his name is Yeshua. All right.
Okay.
So let's go on to the next verse. Verse 2 says, "And the Lord said unto Satan, The Lord rebuke thee, O Satan, even the Lord that hath chosen Jerusalem rebuke thee. Is not this a brand plucked out of the fire? So what was Jesus' job? He was come to save that which was lost, right? And Jerusalem is his capital where he will sit, right?
Right.
And he's telling Satan that this Jerusalem, with all of its people, is going to be plucked out of the fire, is going to be saved from the fire. So what did Jesus do? He saves us from the fire.
Right. That's so true. Yeah.
He saves us from Satan's resistance. You know, Satan's wanting us to be destroyed.
Yeah.
And so he's saving us from that. So we got this metaphor going on, which is an actual story. It's like a parable, but it's not a parable.
Because it's real.
Because it's real. But yet it's doing a parable's job. All right?
Okay.
Let's go on to the next verse. We'll see some more things that it keeps reiterating. So verse number 3 says, Now Yeshua, Joshua, was clothed with filthy garments and stood before the angel. So what does it talk about when it talks about saints? Over in Revelation chapter 19,
Okay.
it says that the bride is clothed with fine linen, and the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints,
Yes.
right? Well, at this point, Jesus hadn't died yet, so his garments, which is who we are, the righteousness of the saints, are filthy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
He's clothed with filth. In other words,
Our filth.
Yeah, we're his body, and that filth and that's why Satan's there to resist him, because we are clothed with filth, right? But he has to clean his garments, which is what we are, right? Because the righteousness of the saints is what goes into the city, and they got to be clean, and he's going to be cleaning them. And Jesus is also the high priest after the order of Melchizedek, right?
Right.
So those filthy garments that's on Yeshua is us.
Oh,
And that's why Satan is resisting him, because we're tainted with sin.
Right.
But there's the metaphor. I mean, what happened in the garden? What made us know we were naked? We didn't have any clothes, right?
Right.
And now we got clothes, and our clothes are dirty because we have stained them.
Yes. And they wouldn't have known they were naked had they not sinned.
Right. They wouldn't have known.
Right.
And that truth passes all the way down through, even into the book of Revelation, that we have got to be covered and our garments can't be nasty.
That's right.
That's what this is telling us, right? So,
Yeah.
Joshua's clothes are filthy. So, let's go on and read some more.
Okay.
And he answered and spake unto those that stood by him, saying, Take away the filthy garments from him. And unto him he said, Behold, I have caused thine iniquity, that's what was making the garments filthy, to pass from thee, and I will clothe thee with a change of raiment. So, how can God make iniquity pass away?
Jesus.
And which is God,
Right.
pays the price,
Right.
and that's how come he can make the iniquity pass away. But you notice that the filthy garments was iniquity, and it's our iniquity.
Right. Okay.
And so he's saying, I'm going to make this pass away. I'm plucking them out of the fire. I'm going to make their iniquity pass away. If that ain't screaming Jesus,
well, yeah.
guess what? It's on Yeshua.
Yeah.
I mean, how much clearer can God be that Jesus is his son, that he's the high priest, and later on we're fixing to see he's a king too. All right?
Okay.
So you can see this all setting up. It's just ramping up, and more details about it. It's all about Jesus. Let's go on to the next verse.
Okay.
Verse 5 said, And I said, Let them set a fair mitre upon his head. So they set a fair mitre upon his head, and clothed him with garments. And the angel of the Lord stood by, and the angel of the Lord protested unto Joshua, saying, Thus saith the Lord, if thou wilt walk in my ways, and if thou wilt keep my charge, then thou shalt judge my house, and shalt keep my courts, and I will give thee places to walk among these that stand by. Okay, so he gives him this fancy headset as the high priest, right? And he says, if you'll keep the way, if you'll keep the truth, if you'll walk in my ways, then I will set you in the courts, right? That's to be a judge.
Okay.
And I will let you have places to walk in amongst the people, which is the heart of God wants to tabernacle amongst us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the whole plan of God is to make Jesus the high priest so he can walk among us, so he can be that connection between us and God.
Right. Yeah.
This story is telling us, and it's telling us with the actual name
Yeah.
of Yeshua. I mean, it's right there.
Right.
I
Okay.
mean, he's making it real obvious. He's
Yeah.
making it so obvious, the Jews will say, "Oh, well, that's talking about the old high priest back in Zerubbabel's day," but it's actually not.
Hmm.
It's foreshadowing Jesus, and it's the same name. All right,
Right. Okay.
and the angel of the Lord, which is Jesus. So Jesus is telling, he's prophesying about himself
Right. Okay.
because Jesus' testimony is the spirit of prophecy, right? So this
Mm-hmm.
angel of the Lord's testifying. And
Right.
it's a spirit of prophecy. So inside this story is prophecy. It's amazing to me how
Yeah.
they don't see that Jesus is the Messiah,
Uh-huh.
especially when they've got a story like this and one of their major prophets,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So let's go on and read some more on it. And then he says in verse number 8, he says, "Hear now, O Yeshua, the high priest," because Jesus is our high priest, right?
Mm-hmm.
"Thou and thy fellows that sit before thee, for they are men wondered at. For behold, I will bring forth my servant, the branch." All right. So who was the people that sat before Jesus? His disciples.
That's right. Right.
They not wondered at. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they brought forth the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
They wrote
Mm-hmm.
the epistles. Some
Mm-hmm.
of them, I know Paul did. And when Paul would be part of them, he's a disciple born out of time.
Right. Right. Right.
So this is telling us about the disciples. So he's calling him the high priest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying these fellows that are sitting before you, which would be Jesus's disciples,
Right.
right?
Okay. Yes.
Now, you can go back into the days when Yeshua, the high priest, was actually here and look up some of those guys, but this is prophesying about the disciples.
Right.
That's the main thing.
Okay.
And what did the disciples did? They brought us the gospel, and their names are written on the foundations of heaven.
Yeah.
And so they are people to be wondered at, and they did wondrous miracles,
Mm-hmm.
And so this is prophesying that they're coming. It's just amazing to me how this is working. And then he makes this comment, "My servant the branch." All right.
Okay. What is that?
Well, there are some comparisons to the word branch, right,
Right.
that point to Nazareth. Nazareth as the branch. So we got Yeshua of Nazareth, a Nazarene, all right?
Right.
So he says the man that is the branch. Well, the branch can be translated into the Nazarene or Nazareth. So it's telling us where he's coming from, even.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
not there. I mean, if you get into all the word study of what's going on, he's the high priest, he's got disciples, and he's coming out of Nazareth. I mean, it just blows me away. All this information is in this story.
And I just thought I was reading about Joshua.
Thought you was reading, and you were, but
And
he named him the same and made him high priest,
right.
so he would be a figure of Christ.
He paralleled.
He paralleled this big time,
Right.
and
He
he's
loves to do that in the Bible.
yeah, and it's all about Jesus. The Old Testament and New Testament's all about Jesus,
Yeah.
because Jesus is God in flesh. So it's amazing that all those parallels are in there. Let's go on some more.
Okay.
It says, "For behold, the stone that I have laid before Yeshua, upon one stone shall be 7 eyes." There's your 7 spirits of God, right? "Behold, I will engrave the graving thereof, saith the Lord of hosts. I will remove the iniquity of the land in one day." So right here's our prophecy of the cross.
In one day.
One day, all the iniquity of the land was removed, and that was during the cross. And so it's telling us that he's going to have disciples. He's coming out of Nazareth, and he's going to be on the cross. And he's going to remove the iniquity in one
In
day.
one day.
And he is going to be of God because of the 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God.
Right.
Those eyes are representing the 7 spirits of God. And we see that in the book of Revelation where it's, it talks about the 7 spirits of God being before the throne.
Right.
It's right there in that story. It's telling us those deep details. And it's letting us know so that we can connect this prophecy to when Jesus comes the first time. And so we see Yeshua, the high priest, right?
Right.
That has a bunch of disciples.
Right.
Comes out of Nazareth.
Mm-hmm.
That's of the Spirit of God.
Right.
So verse number 10 says, In that day, saith the Lord of hosts, ye shall call every man his neighbor under the vine and under the fig tree. So Jesus said in John, I am the vine.
Mm-hmm.
My Father is the husbandman.
Right.
Everyone that's connected to me bears forth fruit, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And under the fig tree, Hosea calls the fig tree Israel. So he's telling us that Jesus is going to be the vine.
Right.
And that he is going to be in the fig tree. He is going to be the king of Israel. He's going to be the high priest of Israel. And it's not actually done. We will go on and read some more about Yeshua. And it's telling us even more information about him. Okay?
Okay.
So let's go on a little bit further in a different chapter. We're in chapter number 6, verse 9. And the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Take of them of the captivity, even of Heldiah, and of Tobiah, and of Jediah, which are come from Babylon, and come thou the same day, and go into the house of Josiah, the son of Zephaniah. Then take silver and gold, and make crowns, and set them up on the head of Yeshua, the son of Josedek, the high priest. That's the same high priest we were talking about a minute ago. And speaking to him, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, saying, Behold the man whose name is the branch. There's our branch again.
Yep.
And he shall grow up out of his place, that means out of heaven, and he shall build the temple of the Lord, even he shall build the temple of the Lord, and he shall bow the glory, and he shall sit and rule upon his throne, and he shall be a priest upon his throne, and a council of peace shall be between them both. So when we did the metals, remember when we did the metals study where the gold was the kingship,
Right.
and
Right.
silver was redemption?
Mm-hmm.
So he's making a crown of gold and
Okay.
silver. So he's a king
Mm-hmm.
who redeems.
Mm. Okay.
So this is a different way of looking, because what happened in the Old Testament was the separation of church and state. You had the king and you had the high priest.
Uh-huh.
And the king was over the matters of the state,
Mm-hmm.
and the high priests were over the matters of God.
Right.
And there was separate. So God made the first separation of church and state. Now, both were subject to God. The king was subject to God, and the high priest was subject to God. So just because you have the separation between church and state doesn't mean that they're not under God. They're both under God, but they are separate
Okay.
institutions.
Right.
And
Right.
God's the one that did that. But we've took that and said, okay, separation between church and state, the state's not under God. Yeah, it's under God too.
Everything's under God.
It's a different institution, but it's under God, one nation under God.
Right.
Yeah. So he gets a crown that's gold and silver. He's a king, which is the gold part, and the silver, he's a redeemer, which is the cross,
Yes.
which is. So this is talking about Jesus. There's no way around it, all right? It's pointing to the fact that Jesus is going to be a high priest king. And see, that's what he makes us. He makes us kings and priests unto our God. But he is the high priest and the king. So the king of kings and the high priest is the highest of all the priests.
Mm-hmm.
So this Old Testament story is telling us about Yeshua.
Wow. And so it's like chapter 3, then it skips to chapter 6.
And it's still talking about the same thing.
Right. Just how it was written, probably.
It was written that way so that they would recognize who Christ is when he come. And they don't. And that just goes to show you, it's not that it's not written where they can understand it. God's not mysterious to the point that you can't understand it. But he gives you enough wiggle room that if you don't want him to be God, he'll let you choose that.
Mm-hmm.
But he says it strong enough that you really can't be deceived about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to have eyes that see and ears that hear. You can talk yourself into anything.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. That's what belief is. Belief is what you really want to happen.
What you want to happen.
You tend to believe what you want to happen.
If you want the pre-tribulation rapture, you probably are going to believe in it.
That's it. If you want that, you're going to believe it. It doesn't matter if everything goes against it.
But then there's truth.
There's truth. You can't change the truth. He won't change the truth. He won't change who he is. He's the way, the truth, and the life.
Right.
He won't change that.
But truth doesn't depend on how you feel about it.
Well,
truth is truth.
Truth is not going to, according to 1 Corinthians 13, love and truth does not pick its own way. It'll let you pick.
Yeah.
But if you don't pick that way, then you don't get the benefits of that way.
Right.
So, but there's Yeshua. He's all over the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's telling, I can't believe it's so plain and they can't see it. I mean, they don't want to see it. It ain't that you can't see it, it's you don't want to.
Oh, I know. Jesus is all over the Bible. It blew me away when you said that creation was the gospel.
Yes.
That creation was every story in the Bible in some way or form is the gospel. You're seeing the gospel played out, but you have to have eyes to see and ears to hear. And thankfully,
it's all pointing to the attributes of God.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to heaven, you get the attributes of God.
Right.
If you don't go to heaven, you choose not to have the attributes of God, then you don't get them. That's why hell's so bad.
Right.
And that's basically
the place without God is nowhere you want to be.
Everything bad.
Yeah.
God is there. And you chose it.
Mm-hmm.
God is not about burning you. He's not about torturing you. He's not about not loving you.
Mm-hmm.
He's not about hating you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you push him away, that's what you got left.
That's what's left. He doesn't send anyone to hell. Humanity sends themselves.
They choose.
You have a choice.
You choose to go to hell or you choose to go to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Based on what you live, how you live.
Right. Yes, exactly.
So, in this Old Testament story of Zechariah, chapter 3 and part of chapter 6, we see Jesus. We see that he is going to be a king priest, that he is going to be a redemptive king sitting on his throne,
right.
And that he is the branch, the Nazarene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we just wanted to share that revelation. A lot of people read that stuff and don't ever make the parallels or the connections.
I never did. A lot of times I just take it for what it says, right then and there, and I don't a lot of times let it open up to like, oh, this means other things too. So I'm thankful that some people have the gifting of receiving revelations to share with us, because I don't always go that far when I read.
Well, it's a beautiful story of Jesus. He, cleansed his garments.
And cleansed our garments.
Which we are those garments.
Yes.
He took away the iniquity.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the redemptive king that sits on the throne and will be sitting on the throne for all eternity. And that's what we're here to decide, if we want him to be God, if we're going to try to be it ourselves. Mm-hmm. So this is a message of salvation to somebody.
Yes, everything in the Bible sings the salvation song. You don't have to look for it. It's there.
You can choose him and live, or you can reject him. And he with tears will say, "Depart from me."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it will be, all of his attributes will be pulled from you, and that's a hellish place.
Right.
And that's exactly what's happened. That's why he had to create hell, is for people, so he could withdraw himself from it.
Because a lot of people say, I don't want anything to do with God. I don't want to be in heaven with God, but they don't know what that entails. You know what I mean? God
is our life. He is our joy, our peace, our happiness, all the fruits of the Spirit, all the glories.
Everything and anything
Every
good.
Potential that we could ever have good is who he is. It's not what he has.
It's who
It's
I
who
am.
yeah, he's the
Yeah.
I am. He's not the I have.
Exactly.
And when we push it away, we are pushing it away. And it's not that he has got some kind of vendetta against us.
No.
He's not vindictive at all.
He wishes for no one to perish. He says that.
Not deny who he is. And he is righteous and holy.
Yeah. You have to know the truth. That's our whole slogan on the podcast. He is the way, the truth, and the life.
No man comes to the Father but by him.
We want to see you in heaven.
Just confess your sins, make Jesus the Lord of your life, abide in him, and walk with him, and you will live with him forever.
If you are enjoying the content and would like to support our ministry, you can do so through Venmo or PayPal. Our handle is @CardingTruth, or use our QR code.
Thank you so much, as always, for hanging out with us today. We are so thankful for our subscribers, and if you have not subscribed, we would love if you would like, subscribe, and click that bell for more notifications. Drop us a comment down below if you have not seen our last episode. Our whole episode was based off of a viewer's comment. Your comments are very important to us. We read those, we try to respond to those, and sometimes the Lord is like, pay attention to this one because it opens up something completely different. So we're so thankful for those, and please leave your comments. We have many more revelations to come, and until next time, we pray that you are blessed.